The rain pattered against the window as Clara sat in her small, dimly lit living room. She stared at the documents spread across the coffee table. Her hands trembled as she picked up the envelope with the bold, ominous words, "Final Notice," stamped in red. Life had been anything but kind since her husband, David, passed away unexpectedly 6 months ago. She was now navigating the challenges of single motherhood while dealing with the suffocating pressure from her in-laws. David had been the cornerstone of her life, a compassionate man with a smile that could light up the darkest days. They had met during a college seminar, both dreaming of building a life of purpose. David's dream was to become a humanitarian doctor, and Clara's was to teach. Together, they had painted a future filled with hope and love. But all of that came crashing down when David suffered a fatal accident on his way to a medical camp. Clara's world shattered, leaving her to pick up the pieces while being 5 months pregnant with their first child. After David's passing, Clara was forced to move in with her in-laws, Margaret and Andrew. Initially, they seemed supportive, welcoming her with open arms and promising to help her through the difficult times. Margaret, however, had a way of making her kindness feel conditional. Clara noticed the subtle changes over time. An unkind word here, a sharp glance there. It wasn't long before Margaret's true nature began to reveal itself. "Clara," Margaret's voice rang sharply from the kitchen one evening. "I need you to contribute more around here. It's not fair for Andrew and me to shoulder all the expenses while you sit here doing nothing." Clara's heart sank. She had been struggling to manage her grief and prepare for the arrival of her baby. Morning sickness still plagued her, and the emotional toll of David's loss had drained her energy. "I'm sorry," Clara replied softly, trying to keep her voice steady. "I've been looking for remote teaching opportunities, but it's taking time. I promise I'll contribute as soon as I can." Margaret's lips tightened into a thin line. "Promises don't pay the bills, Clara. Andrew and I aren't getting any younger, and you're living here rent-free. I expect $1,500 a month starting next week. Surely David's life insurance left you something." The words hit Clara like a slap. The life insurance money was all she had to secure her child's future. How could Margaret expect her to give that away? Over the following weeks, the tension in the house grew unbearable. Margaret's remarks became more cutting, and Andrew, though silent, seemed complicit in his wife's demands. Clara's only solace was her unborn child. Every time she felt a tiny kick, she reminded herself that she needed to be strong. One evening, Clara overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold. Margaret and Andrew were talking in hushed tones in the kitchen. "She'll crack soon," Margaret said. "Once the baby's here, she'll be too overwhelmed to fight back. We can convince her to sign over whatever David left behind. It's only fair. After all, it's family money." Clara's hands clenched into fists. They were planning to take away everything David had left for her and their child. The betrayal cut deep, but Clara resolved not to let them win. She had to find a way out. Clara's opportunity came sooner than she expected. One morning, as Margaret was heading out for her weekly book club meeting, Clara noticed her leave the house in a hurry, forgetting her phone on the kitchen counter. Clara hesitated for a moment before picking it up. She knew it was wrong to snoop, but she needed answers. Scrolling through Margaret's messages, Clara's suspicions were confirmed. Margaret had been in contact with a lawyer, discussing ways to gain control of David's assets. Clara's stomach churned as she read the words. "She'll fold under pressure. We just need to make her feel like she has no other options." Clara put the phone down, her mind racing. She couldn't let Margaret and Andrew manipulate her any longer. That evening, she reached out to her best friend, Lily, who had been her confidant since childhood. "Lily, I need your help," Clara said, her voice trembling. She explained the situation, and Lily immediately sprang into action. "You're not alone in this," Lily assured her. "I'll help you find a place to stay and a lawyer to protect your rights. We'll figure this out together." With Lily's support, Clara began to take steps to reclaim her independence. She found a small apartment in a neighboring town and started teaching online classes to earn an income. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Clara also hired a lawyer, who assured her that Margaret and Andrew had no legal claim to David's assets. The lawyer advised her to gather evidence of their manipulation and threats, which would strengthen her case if it came to court. Clara's resolve grew stronger with each passing day. She kept her plans secret, knowing that Margaret and Andrew would try to stop her if they found out. Late at night, after the house had fallen silent, Clara would pack her belongings little by little, hiding the boxes in the back of the closet. Then, one fateful night, everything came to a head. Margaret barged into Clara's room, her face red with anger. "What do you think you're doing?" Margaret demanded, holding up a box of Clara's packed belongings. "Are you planning to leave without telling us?" Clara took a deep breath, her heart pounding. "Yes, I am. I can't stay here any longer, Margaret. This is no longer a safe place for me or my child." Margaret's expression twisted with rage. "You ungrateful little girl. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? Don't think you can take David's money and run. We'll fight you every step of the way." Clara met Margaret's glare with a newfound strength. "I'm not taking David's money. I'm protecting what he left for our child, and you have no right to it." Margaret opened her mouth to retort, but Clara cut her off. "If you try to stop me, I'll go to the police with the evidence I've collected. I've recorded your conversations and saved your messages. Do you really want to risk a legal battle?" Margaret's face went pale, and she stepped back. "You'll regret this," she hissed before storming out of the room. The next morning, Clara left the house with her packed bags, her head held high. Lily was waiting outside with her car, ready to drive Clara to her new home. As they pulled away, Clara felt a mix of relief and fear. She was stepping into the unknown, but she was free. Over the following months, Clara built a new life for herself and her baby. She worked tirelessly to provide a stable home, and the joy of holding her newborn daughter in her arms made every struggle worth it. Clara knew that David would have been proud of her resilience. Meanwhile, Margaret and Andrew faced the consequences of their actions. Clara's lawyer had sent them a formal notice, warning them to cease any attempts to claim David's assets. The evidence Clara had collected was enough to keep them at bay. Clara's story became one of strength and perseverance. She had faced unimaginable loss and betrayal, but she had emerged stronger, determined to honor David's memory by creating a life filled with love and hope for their daughter. And as she rocked her baby to sleep each night, Clara knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she would face them head-on, with courage and determination.